Imagine 100 prime Mike Tysons jammed shoulder to shoulder inside that ring, each one a 220-pound whirlwind who averaged 1,600 pounds of punching force and iced opponents in under 30 seconds. Stack that fury 100 deep, and you've got humanity's nastiest knockout machine turned up to stadium volume. Now lock eyes with the opposition, a mountain gorilla whose forearms outweigh grocery hauls, whose 1,300 PSA bite pulverizes coconuts, and whose 8-foot reach turns every swipe into a wrecking ball swing. One adrenaline-spiked charge can hit 25 miles per hour, deadlift half a ton, and scatter anything that isn't bolted down. That nightmare standoff framed, the debate splits the internet right down the middle. Viral origin of the matchup. You've seen the debate, a throwaway Reddit post from 2020 mutates into a TikTok tsunami by 2025. Tweets tally 9-digit impressions, fan art sells out, and reaction channels live stream blow by blow for a fight that will never happen. The hashtag even crossed into late-night TV monologues where comedians sparred over Team Thumb versus Team Knuckle, and marketing departments baked Gorilla Verye's crowd Easter eggs into sneaker drops and energy drink ads. But why does an unwinnable argument hook harder than a real title bout? Perhaps it's civilization versus raw nature. And everyone wants bragging rights. The sheer scale of online engagement shows how a single imaginative spark can ripple through every corner of digital culture. Gorilla Power Profile. A silverback tips the scale at 195 to 220 kilograms. 2 refrigerators fused with springs. 1 forearm outweighs a full grocery haul. A 1,300 PSI bite can pulp coconuts, and sprint bursts hit 25 miles per hour. Add an 8-foot arm span that turns every swipe into a wrecking ball swing. Muscle biopsies show fast twitch fibers so dense they rival Olympic sprinters, yet they blanket the entire frame. And here's what people forget. A silverback's center of gravity sits lower than an NFL lineman's, which makes takedowns messy fast. Calm rules until every exit disappears, triggering a 30-second storm built to bulldoze anything blocking the door. Even seasoned wildlife guides admit that in those moments, chaos outpaces any training they've had. Human horde dynamics. Opposite the ape stands 100 average men, roughly 90 kilos each, benches hovering around 100 kilos on a good day. Alone they're brittle. Together they wield humanity's secret weapon, coordination. Millennia of cooperative hunting hardwired us to sync movements almost instinctively when stakes spike. Yet that wiring depends on instant trust that's hard to summon when a 2-meter primate is cracking ribs 3 meters away. Coordination can vaporize at the first scream, so the lingering question is whether strangers can lock minds when panic detonates inside the circle. History is full of battles won or lost on that razor's edge between teamwork and pandemonium. Evolutionary arms race zoom out a million years. Gorillas evolved brute bursts to wrestle bamboo and rivals. Humans evolved persistence hunts and group tactics. Fossil footprints show early Homo literally running prey to exhaustion, turning endurance into a killing edge, while thick-boned apes banked on short, decisive clashes to protect limited forest turf. Those toolkits collide here. Power spikes versus stamina loops, solitary strength versus hive mind maneuvers. Which playbook tops the scoreboard when neither side has ever faced the other? Quick pulse check, gorilla or human, whose corner are you in? Scribble your pick below and see if you're still confident by the end. The matchup is less about muscle fibers and more about evolution's divergent bets on survival. Arena variables, that's the ape's arsenal. So what do humans bring? Terrain rewrites odds. Jungle thickets hand the gorilla ambush angles and tree club weapons. Open concrete gifts humans line of sight and radio clear shouts. Time of day matters too. Darkness blunts human vision, but arena light could spook a night-adapted ape unused to glare. Even scattered obstacles, benches, cars, boulders, change whether the crowd can kite or gets funneled into a meat grinder. Shift one variable, ground texture, light, echo, and a wind swings 20% either way. It's the ultimate reminder that context often outweighs raw capability. First clash scenario. But raw stats mean nothing without a battlefield. Picture a tennis court cage. The gorilla hammers his chest, Shockwave and Mammalian Bass, while 10 phone-wielding volunteers sprint in. The ape feints left, swats right, and bodies skid. Momentum dies, courage wobbles. A semicircle reforms, anger mixing with adrenaline, while each breath tastes like copper. High above, a drone cam catches fear vapor rising off 100 sweaty backs. Is this where the crowd fuses into one organism or unravels into a stampede? Split-second decisions here could echo louder than any roar. Tactics versus raw muscle comment threads revolve around 3 game plans. B-Swarm strikes in 10-man bursts that jab, retreat, and repeat. Phalanx Prison locks 50 men arm to arm, herding the ape while reserves rotate in. Psych War floods the senses with lights, roars, and feints to trigger flight. Ethologists say a cornered silverback detonates for roughly half a minute, then scans again for an exit, meaning the human wall either shatters instantly or earns its single window to swarm. Those 30 seconds could splinter bones or open lanes. No middle setting exists, and every fallen fighter narrows angles and buys the guerrilla breathing room. If that opening lasts 5 seconds, how many of the 100 remain upright to exploit it? Each tactic gambles on millimeters and milliseconds that no simulation can truly capture. Expert Insight Interlude. Primatologist Tara Stowinski still calls gorillas gentle giants until boxed in, while Ian Redmond has never logged a deliberate human kill, yet warns that defensive bursts snap bones faster than they settle arguments. Both agree humans might outlast the ape if pressure never dips. Neurobiologists note that fear spikes can slash grip strength by 30% in seconds, erasing the gym stats people brag about online. Which fuse burns out first, gorilla glycogen or human nerve? Even experts admit the answer may change with every heartbeat inside the arena. Meme machine. Mayhem, scholars crunch force curves while TikTok choreographs parody fight camps. Discord debates gorilla to bench ratios, and merch vendors sell out round 1 hoodies. Corporate brands slip Gorilla's crowd references into ads, cashing in on the hype cycle, while 3D animators simulate battle outcomes and mint the clips as NFTs. One streaming startup teased pay-per-view VR before lawyers and ethicists slammed the brakes. Could a fantasy fight become the most profitable sporting event never staged? Digital spectacle may have already won, whether or not the arena gates ever open. Celebrity draft board, fantasy GMs keep filling the 100-man roster with heavy hitters. Mike Tyson for prime knockout shockwaves. Shaquille O'Neal is a 7-foot wall of mass. Conor McGregor for precision angles and psychological warfare. Hafthor Thor Bjornsson anchoring grapples with record deadlifts. And Usain Bolt as a sprint bait distraction. Fans add Francis Ngannou's skyscraper reach, Brock Lesnar's NCAA wrestling pedigree, John Jones's spider limb elbows, Giannis Antetokounmpo's elastic wingspan, LeBron James's 40-inch vertical, Derrick Henry's bulldozer thighs, and Brian Shaw's world's strongest man horsepower. A tactician such as Jocko Willink, calling battlefield audibles, rounds out a walking strategy board. Dream roster assembled. But can egos sink under fur-flying chaos, or does the first rogue charge turn all-stars into outliers? Star power is dazzling, yet discipline decides whether talent coalesces or combusts. Conservation curveball. Beyond the spectacle looms a grimmer bout. Fewer than 1,100 mountain gorillas remain. Habitat loss, snares, and viruses don't care about hypothetical arenas. The Dean Fossey Fund estimates $12 million a year would safeguard core reserves. Less than a week of ad revenue if every viewer watched one extra commercial. Ecotourism already proves that living gorillas can bankroll local economies far better than bushmeat ever will. If 1% of viewers donated $1, memes could bankroll ranger patrols for a decade. The real heavyweight fight is for conservation, not clickbait glory. The unanswered question stats tallied, tactics mapped, rosters drafted, yet the scoreboard still flashes question marks. Adjust venue, temperature, or talent pool, and the story pivots again. The debate survives because ambiguity is addictive. Every new angle feels like the missing puzzle piece. Philosophers call this the paradox of unprovables. Arguments too big to settle, yet too juicy to drop. Perhaps the real winner is the conversation itself, because as long as no one agrees, comment threads stay ablaze. Our fascination says as much about human psychology as it does about gorilla physiology. Your battle plan, dream lineup, or probability model below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you catch the next impossible matchup. Because in the only fight that matters, keeping gorillas alive, we're already in round 1 and the clock's ticking.